Bonsoir à tous et re-bienvenue à cette deuxième table ronde professionnelle de Zoofest. Ce soir, la thématique, les algorithmes et la découvrabilité. Donc, j'ai avec moi aujourd'hui 3 panélistes, 3 personnes qui ont tous une expérience différente, de l'expertise différente pour vous. Et comme d'habitude, on est en live sur Facebook et sur YouTube pour recevoir vos questions et pour s'assurer de pouvoir être en interaction avec vous pendant la prochaine heure. La conversation ce soir aura lieu en français et en anglais, donc soyez bien à l'aise de poser vos questions dans une langue ou une autre. Je vous présente donc nos panélistes ce soir. Donc Alexandre Champagne, humoriste, photographe et vidéaste. Bonsoir Alexandre.
Hello.
Paul Stoica, directeur de la Monétisation pour Juste pour rire. Hi Paul.
Hello.
Et finalement, Kristian Hansen qui nous rejoint de MNTN. Hi Kristian.
Hello.
So, without further ado, let me ask the first question. Let's keep in mind that we're referencing and we're talking to an audience of young creators, either content on the web or also stand-up. What do I do if I'm a young creator and I keep creating, I have a podcast, I keep creating short videos, and somehow I don't seem to be able to find new followers or to find people? What's my first step? What do I do with my content? Kristian?
I'd give this one to Paul because I want your expertise on the subject. We have two very different experiences with those platforms, and I'd like to know what you think about that.
Sure. So I guess it's difficult. It is a difficult thing to be discovered. So first thing is you need to find people because you're not going to be found just by putting keywords and things like that. People need to first watch your stuff before it can be referenced to other people. So you have to figure it out. Like if you're on Twitter, if you have a few followers, if you have friends that can recommend your videos, if you can send it to your family circle, just like your immediate friends, just to get a base of views, because that's what you need initially, is just to have, like, even if it's just a small following, that will grow. So like that's the very first step, and that's the hardest part when you have like no one. The thing is, like, once you do start to have a following, there's like a bunch of things you can do. You should always aim to like find new people, find new audience, and go where that audience is. So find collaborators that are in the same field as you, that would have similar audience. So let's say you're doing comedy, well, you're out of l'école de l'humour, or you're out of a group or something like that. Just collaborate together. Try to be on as many platforms as possible. Sometimes your content, you might not even know it, but might be more appropriate for TikTok or for Snap or YouTube. You don't know. And yeah, it's really a struggle to get started. If you can latch on, or for lack of a better word, to some people that already have a following, and either collaborate with them or just like try to like pick up a ride on their like channel to get known a little bit. Yeah, that's a good start. Later we can talk about the specifics of like algorithms and that kind of stuff, but
we will definitely go through every possible platform because I think they're all very different, and it's always a bigger question of what do I do? Am I supposed to create different content for each of them, or is it more a matter of length? So we'll get through that as well. But we keep referencing you need to have a following. A small one is okay, but if you have a bigger one, what does that mean in terms of numbers? Because for most people, our following is basically your family, your friends, and your kind of your acquaintances. So what represents a good enough following?
It's never good enough. People who have hundreds of thousands want millions, people who have millions want tens of millions. So, but when you start, it depends also what your goal. Do you want to be rich? Do you want to just be well known? Do you want to make a career out of it? You have to choose your angle. What do you think, Alex?
Kristian, you have something to say or to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think, for instance, it depends, right? Like if we're just talking about it purely from an influencer standpoint. And so one of our companies is an influencer management agency, and we have plenty of classifications for how we classify size of accounts. You have micro influencers, you have macro influencers, you have mega influencers. The reality is it's all relative to what you're trying to do. If you're a comedian and you're trying to break into the comedy world, well, your goal should obviously, as Paul said, to chase as many followers as you absolutely can. But I do believe that there is a threshold when you do really start to kind of have the notoriety and the prestige, so to speak, that you need. And for me, that's usually about around the 50,000 mark. We see massive differences in the amount of money that our influencers make as soon as they kind of cross that 50,000 threshold. An influencer on Instagram at 30,000 followers is making $200, $300 a post. As soon as they cross that 50K mark, they can go up to $1,000, $2,000 a post. And we don't see that drastic of a jump until you're in the 200s, 300,000 follower kind of range, purely on the business side of things. But again, it is all relative. And we can talk more about growth and how to basically leverage that 10,000 to 30,000 to 50,000 range. But I think it is like Paul said, it depends what you ultimately want to do with it. And are you here to make this is this your platform? Is your platform live on social media? Or are you trying to leverage your platform to get bookings? Or are you trying to leverage your platform to get on, Netflix or those kinds of things? So really it depends on the goal would be my perspective.
Sure. Alexandre, est-ce que tu veux rajouter?
Ouais, je trouve ça super intéressant le point de vue. Puis encore là, comme jeune créateur, tu sais, si je parle de mon expérience passée, en 2007, on est arrivé avec Contrat de gars, c'est Juste pour rire qui avait acheté les licences au début. On était sur justpourrire.tv, qui n'a pas fait long feu. C'est Paul, je sais pas si tu t'en souviens, mais ça a été comme 2007-2008, puis ils ont mis la hache là-dedans, ça n'existait plus. Comme créateur de contenu, tu sais, comme humoriste, par exemple, je vais prendre cette expérience-là parce que je suis passé par là. Nous, on a été chanceux quand on a mis Contrat de gars sur le marché parce qu'on était tout seul. Aujourd'hui, il faut que tu fasses ton chemin à travers une marée, un océan de gens qui font la même chose que toi. Fait que, comme artiste, au début, la question qu'il faut se poser, c'est est-ce que je veux devenir un bon calculateur de comment je vais réussir à avoir du succès sur Internet ou est-ce que je veux concentrer mon énergie à rendre mon matériel encore plus marketable, bankable? Est-ce que je veux travailler sur mon talent? Est-ce que je veux travailler sur ma vision de l'avenir? Parce que c'est ça le piège, selon moi, dans lequel il ne faut pas tomber. Parce que un truc, c'est que oui, c'est trendy d'avoir un gros following sur les Internets. Le problème, c'est que si tu suis un trend, tu ne bâtis pas pour la pérennité. Quand tu es un artiste, ce qui est important de constater, c'est que tu veux être là longtemps. Pour être là longtemps, si tu essaies de toujours être sur le trend, il y a toujours quelqu'un qui va être plus engagé, plus intense que toi, puis qui va réussir à avoir le dessus là-dessus. Fait que comme humoriste, je pense que l'important, c'est de travailler son stock, de travailler sa vision à moyen long terme, puis de se servir des médias sociaux comme un médium. Un des enjeux sociaux qu'on voit, c'est que les gens se servent plus d'Instagram comme le médium. Instagram ou les autres plateformes, c'est rendu the thing. Je fais du Instagram. C'est plus je suis humoriste, puis je me sers d'Instagram pour partager mon travail, puis eventually, just like Kristian said, go on Netflix or have bookings. People do their stuff on Instagram. So there's no other way for people to buy what this person is doing as content. Fait que si je reviens au début, je pense que ce qui est important quand tu es un créateur, quand tu es un artiste, puis tu as un talent ou tu as quelque chose qui a de l'impact sur un grand nombre de gens, c'est de travailler sur ce qui fait en sorte que tu as de l'impact, de travailler sur ta personne, de travailler sur comment tu vas livrer ton matériel, l'histoire derrière. Il faut que tu vives pour faire vivre ton art. Puis ensuite, les plateformes devraient être une manière de partager ça pour arriver à des fins comme Kristian a dit tantôt. Maintenant, ce que je trouve dommage des fois, c'est qu'il y en a qui sont des bons humoristes, des bons artistes, puis là, ils vont concentrer leur énergie à avoir des likes, un following, puis comme, moi, je dirais, fuck that shit. Just do your thing, get better, go do shows, go do venues, small ones, bigger ones, play in front of your family, play in front of 1,000 people, try to get bookings, and then use this as a medium to get better, and then raise awareness on what you're doing. And then as long as you're getting better, you're going to have work. And this is what's important. The important is not understanding what the platforms can do for you. It's what you can offer to people and how you're going to offer it to people. Il y a un professeur de l'UQAM qui est super intéressant qui s'appelle Destiny Chewali, qui a fait des études sur la découvrabilité. si vous avez la chance de voir ce que ce gars-là fait, c'est vraiment super intéressant. On a eu un podcast avec lui pour la Fondation. Ça a été merveilleux parce que c'est pas facile de se faire découvrir. Mais je pense que la voie de la réussite, moyen long terme, c'est de travailler sur ses affaires. Puis, if it's good, people are gonna like it.
Je suis 100% d'accord. À la base, ça doit être, surtout au début, ça doit être un outil pour les fins de c'est quoi ton but carrière.
Exact. Parce que tu peux prendre je vais prendre l'exemple de la musique. Tu peux prendre un chanteur qui est beau, qui chante bien, mais s'il n'y a rien en arrière pour backer, why are we following this guy for a while? I'll take Harry Styles, for example. This guy, he was in a boy band, and like, there are millions of boy bands around the world. So why does this guy has the success he has nowadays? It's because he went further. He worked on his art and his music. And then he said, this is what I'm offering. He didn't think, how many likes am I going to get or whatever that thing is. He just did music, and good music at that. And he took stances on social issues as well. So, and this wasn't to get followers on Instagram. This was to make his music and his art better. And so I think that's the key to success in mid or long-term relationship with your career.
Tout à fait. Puis je pense qu'il y a personne qui remet en question non plus ça. Au contraire, je pense que on s'entend tous que on vient parler aujourd'hui des médias sociaux, puis de quelle façon est-ce qu'on peut mieux les comprendre d'un point de vue technique, de façon à ce que justement tout cet art que les gens sont en train de produire, que tous ces blagues que les gens sont en train d'écrire, puis de retravailler sans arrêt, puisse, être vu par plus qu'un cercle immédiat, puis deux, puisse être peut-être, est justement cet aspect de découvrabilité-là, puis est une plateforme ou une scène virtuelle plus grande que ce que la personne fait présentement. Fait que je suis d'accord qu'on n'est pas ici aujourd'hui pour dire aux gens, ben vous devez vous assurer de faire plus de photos en bikini ou ou d'être ou d'enlever votre chandail le plus souvent possible. C'est pas du tout le but de cette conversation. Mais je pense qu'il y a quand même un point de vue technique que les gens ne comprennent pas. Puis je vais dire, moi, la première, de se dire, ben il me semble que ce que je fais, c'est bon, il me semble que c'est drôle. Pourquoi est-ce que j'arrive pas à avoir plus de gens qui ont été reach, qui ont été atteints, qui ont vu mon contenu? Puis après, pourquoi est-ce que j'ai l'impression que je suis comme pris dans une espèce de zone où c'est toujours les mêmes gens qui voient, qui commandent, puis qui sont heureux de ce que je fais. Mais au final, j'ai l'impression qu'il y a plus de gens qui pourraient bénéficier de ce que j'ai à offrir. Fait que...
C'est drôle parce que tu l'as dit dans ta phrase. Tu as dit, on n'est pas ici pour dire aux gens d'enlever leur chandail ou de se mettre en maillot plus souvent. Puis ensuite, on se pose la question, pourquoi mon reach n'est pas plus grand? Ben parce que tu t'es pas mis en bikini, puis tu n'as pas fait les choses qui sont trendy et que les plateformes vont pousser. Parce que, bien simplement, là, les plateformes, ce qu'elles font, c'est qu'elles vendent l'attention des gens. Puis ce qui retient l'attention, c'est ce qui est le plus bankable. Puis c'est ça qui va être mis de l'avant. Donc, pour aller plus de l'avant, tu dois rentrer dans les trends qui sont populaires pour en arriver là. Donc, c'est difficile. C'est super difficile de faire ton affaire sans tomber dans ces patterns-là pour avoir de l'exposure. Quand c'est rendu que tu as des politiciens américains au niveau fédéral qui font des danses sur TikTok pour avoir de l'attention, c'est parce qu'ils sont comme, ben regarde, c'est ça qui marche, c'est ça que je vais faire, mais ce que je veux parler, c'est un law bill que je veux faire passer. Ils prennent les manières pour se faire voir, mais c'est difficile parce que c'est comme un peu si tu pervertis ton contenu dans ces trends-là pour le faire passer, puis je trouve que ça dénature un peu ce que les personnes font. Donc, il faut savoir qu'il y a des forces qui jouent contre nous dans ce temps-là. Puis il faut comprendre aussi que Facebook sait que s'il donne de l'exposure, tu vas faire de l'argent. Puis pour avoir plus d'exposure, tu peux payer. Je donne un exemple, je donne des ateliers photo. Quand je dépense 300$ pour un atelier photo, je vais vendre une quinzaine de places à tous les coups. Fait que j'imprime de l'argent. Je sais que si je dépense X, je vais faire Y à toutes les fois parce que c'est comme ça que c'est fait. Donc, c'est pour pousser les gens à dépenser puis à faire des choses, soit qui vont rapporter à Facebook en termes d'attention parce qu'il y a plus de gens qui vont te regarder. Tu vas avoir the more eyeballs you get, the more Facebook likes you. Ou sinon, ce que tu vas faire, c'est you're just going to give money to Facebook in order to have more reach. So with ads or sponsored content or stuff like that. Fait qu'il n'y a pas vraiment d'issue dans la manière que les algorithmes sont faits pour le moment. Donc, c'est pour ça que je trouve ça important de dire qu'il faut que tu aies confiance en ton matériel, puis en ce que tu veux faire, puis en ta vision, parce que c'est peut-être pas payant tout de suite, mais à long terme, si tu show up à toutes les fois comme il faut, ça va finir par fonctionner. Fait que it depends on the patience you have until you reach what you consider as being success.
Absolument. Puis je pense que tu as un peu mis le doigt dessus. Puis je pense que c'est ça qui va bien cadrer notre discussion. Fait que what I'm proposing here is that we go through each platform, and then we'll be able to kind of go through the trappings, the do's and don'ts, and also how the algorithm in some cases is working against you. What's the type of videos, with the length, the engagement, the types of. I think if it might be a more useful conversation for anyone watching us at home to know through each platform what they should be on the lookout for if they want to remain, have integrity with their content and with who they are on each of those.
I have a question for Kristian, actually, because you said you run an agency with influencers. So you have different kinds of people in that agency. Do you sometimes have to impose some kind of things to do to your influencers, or are clients choosing which specific influencer they can give the thing to? Like, do you sometimes have to, I don't know if it sounds good in English when I'm asking, but do you work with influencers that do specific things, or is it,
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty wide spectrum. I mean, in order to be able to try and work with as many different companies as we can in various different niches and different markets around the world, it's crazy how specific and targeted marketing is trying to get now. And so there, especially with influencer marketing, if you're a company based in New Zealand, you want New Zealand-based influencers, and that's a hard thing to find. And not a lot of agencies are gonna have that. So we cast a very wide net. But in that discussion, it's almost always the brand driving the discussion. They come to us and they say, this is our product. This is what we're doing. This is what platforms we're looking for. This is the type of content we're looking for. We try and push them in the right direction in terms of what we think is going to be successful for them, because if they're putting lots of money into it, we want their campaigns to be successful. But the reality is that the brand is usually driving that. They'll say, okay, we want to work with the following influencers and that we want them to support this product, and this is the type of content we want. And it's a back and forth into discussion. And the content creator also has to be comfortable with it as well.
What's the name of the agency?
It's Terra, Terraa, okay. based in Los Angeles.
That's great. So you choose specific influencers for the brand that asks you to do work for their product or whatever they have to offer.
Yeah, so there's two sides. I mean, and I think, and to keep it relevant to everyone watching at home who wants to be an aspiring influencer, we try to look for people who are really genuine in their content, in the sense that they're not corporate. So whether that's being a comedian, whether that's being just a person at home who's making content, we look for the people who we want to represent, because the content that they're creating is unapologetically, it is them. That's who they are, because those are the types of people that companies now are looking for. What makes influencer marketing so successful, and what makes it really a career now, is that you're getting a look into people's lives unlike ever before. And so that's really the main thing that we're looking for, and the main thing that if you want to become an aspiring influencer, or you want to use social media in order to make money or grow a following or get bookings, do not pretend to be someone else. Because it's so easy to tell when someone is pretending to try and be the social media version of themselves. And companies don't want that. Brands don't want to work with that. Agencies don't want to work with that. And no one wants to book that. They want to see you, and they want to see the behind the scenes of your life. And that's really what we look for.
I think that answers, or at least that in partly answers the question we have from Elizabeth, who asked, what would you say are the do's and don'ts of content creation and sharing? So Elizabeth, the first one that Kristian mentioned is truly be yourself. There's no reason for you to try to act like an Instagram version of yourself. Anything else you'd like to add, Kristian, to this one?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of don'ts, just to continue to that, I mean, don't try and mimic other people. You are you. And the reason that just because one person went viral for something doesn't mean that you're going to go viral for something. And as much as there are trends, especially on a platform like TikTok, which is very trend heavy, most of TikTok content, I'd say at least half of it is really about whatever's happening that month or that week, and that trend or that sound that they're using or whatever it is. But the reality is that what makes you grow your following is what separates you from people, not what makes you the same as everyone else. Because people also now are quite selective in who they follow. Their timelines are getting full, their accounts are getting full. And unless it's a throwaway, people care about who they're following. And so you have to have some form of differentiation with your content. And I really liked what Alexandre said earlier about really mastering your craft, because at the end of the day, the platforms will reward you if you make good content. If you make beautiful content, if you are good at what you do, they will reward you. And being good at what you do is what separates you from other people. So that's my biggest do, is be yourself, be good at what you do, get better at what you do, create beautiful content, and the algorithms and the platforms, they will reward you.
And the person who started this week's trend wasn't following last week's trends. So
exactly, yeah.
By default, like if you want to be like at the forefront, you need to do something else than everyone else.
Kristian, should creators think about what's going to go viral all the time? Because I remember when we started doing the internet thing.
Yeah.
And those were the years where Paul and I came out the École de l'Humour. I remember producers at the time were saying, "Can you make it viral?" Like it was something you could ever come
yeah,
up
it's like
with.
an on-off button.
It's like,
yeah,
well, I would have done it viral, but I'll need 10Ks, you know, it's just, it's like, so should creators think about that, or should they go on with their stuff? Like, what do you think about that?
You know, I think there's a certain element of it's good to keep it in mind, in the sense that, you know, you don't want to completely ignore what is working, because the algorithms at the end of the day, they are designed to keep people on the app for as long as they can so that the companies make money. That is it. And if you think in that mindset, TikTok wants to keep you on TikTok for 3 hours every day so that they can show you 3 hours worth of ads so that they make more money. And they're always going to show you the things that they think are hyper relevant. And if what is viral is hyper relevant, then you should, you know, you can pull from that. I think that it's a problem when creators just make everything that they do about what is trending and what they think is going to go viral. You can try too hard, and some content creators try way too hard to do everything that's working for other people. So I think that there's some importance to understanding what's working, and there's an importance to understanding what the current trend is. But it's not do or die if you're not doing everything perfectly. That's not how going viral works. I went viral completely by accident. Like I started a TikTok account. I posted one video, and in a week I had 30,000 followers by accident. I didn't even intend for it to happen. I went to a thrift shop and I bought a pair of jeans that accidentally turned out to be women's jeans. And I put them on and realized that they didn't have pockets, and that women don't have pockets in their clothes. And I made a TikTok saying that it's not fair that women don't have pockets. And now I have 30,000 followers.
I mean, what will you follow this with?
and that's it, you know, and all of a sudden now I've become a TikToker that discusses, gender equality and sustainability and all these kinds of activist things. And it was completely by accident. And now I speak my mind every day. But the reality is that I didn't plan for that. I didn't sit down and go, if I make this video, it's going to go viral. It just happens. And so that's my best advice for people, is like, make good content, know what's out there, but just be yourself, make good content, and something will work. Just the consistency is really important too.
Okay, I have a question here from Claude. I think it goes hand in hand with what we're asking, and he asked, how much time or money should I invest into my social media content to make a difference, or is it just luck? Like you said, you put on a pair of pants and look at that, you have 30,000 followers, and other people might say, you know what, I post diligently every Tuesday and Friday, and yet I'm still only my mother comments. So what can you do?
I don't think it's a good idea to invest money from the get-go, because you're buying an audience that doesn't really care about you, unless you have, I mean, if you're producing a show and you're like a proper producer and you have like a budget and like that kind of stuff. But if you're trying to actually start your own career and brand, I think that's like an artificial way to pump your numbers. And then once you stop pumping money into it, you'll be disappointed. So I wouldn't put money, but I would post consistently. Look at what you're posting, because the thing is, what platforms want is to sell ads. And how they sell ads is by having people on their platform the longest time possible. And how they measure that is they look at your video. Let's say we're talking purely video. How long people who watch your video, do they click away and go to another site after because they're like, screw this, this is like, I have better things to do in my life? Or do they love it and they watch it through and they click another video that's related? Then they're like, oh, this guy is keeping people on the platform, so let's recommend his video. So that's kind of how the recommendation like algorithm works. They check they have to measure the quality of your video, and they can't have someone look at it and decide like, okay, this is a good video. So they use metrics. They check how long people were staying in your video. They check, do they push the like button? Do they share it? Did they come back? Did they subscribe to your channel? All of those are like engagement metrics. So the more your viewers engage with your video, the more they watch it, the more Google or Facebook or Instagram thinks that whatever you're producing is quality. And when comes time to recommend it to other people, that's when it's gonna like go into the recommendation engine.
If I can add just one thing on what you just said, in terms of investments, the only thing that I think, and I think you're exactly right, talking about buying monetized ads or boosts or those kinds of things, it's a very artificial audience. The thing that to invest in, if you're going to invest any money, is good equipment, in the sense that there is a reward for quality content. And the people who say are on TikTok, who have a small lighting setup and a good camera, no matter what, they're always going to do better, because the TikTok algorithm rewards quality content, and the better quality your production, the more likely your content is to go viral. So if you're going to invest any money anywhere, don't ever invest it into ads. Don't invest it into monetization. Don't buy followers, nothing like that. Buy a $200 lighting setup that's going to get you set up really, really good, a decent camera, or upgrade your smartphone or whatever to get something, that's really solid. And you don't have to spend tons of money. I know people for less than $100 who have a pretty good TikTok setup, and the quality just increases tenfold, and that's going to help you go viral versus buying traffic.
Yeah. Also, technology is cheaper by the year. So I remember when we started, again in 2008, mobile phones weren't even a thing. And I'm a professional photographer. I've been doing photography for the past 28 years. And what I use the most is my cell phone now. And it's yielding incredible results because I know how to use it. So you can also invest in formations, in knowledge, and most of the good knowledge out there is free on YouTube. You can also go on masterclass. You can get a membership for like $400 for a year, and you're going to learn stuff. You not only are you going to learn technique, but you're also going to learn spirit, like how to do things, why do things. And I really agree with Kristian on good equipment. What people want to be when looking at your stuff is comfortable. So you want to have good sound and good image, because if you don't have good image quality, people know that they can just skip right through and find something that's going to be a bit more appealing. So I really agree with Kristian. And what you don't have a lot when you start is money. So you also should invest in the quality of your life, like a good room or a good setup to do your things, a gym membership, great food. You should invest in those things to make yourself better, make yourself feel very well while doing your stuff. And this shows. I mean, the energy you bring on the platforms, it really shows. And this goes with how comfortable you are in life. So I'd invest my money in other things than fake audiences that can go as fast as they can come.
I mean, that's very wise and very true. I'd like to talk a little bit about the algorithms, because I think the word has been thrown around for about I'll say maybe 5-6 years nonstop. We keep talking about, oh, there's now a new algorithm on Facebook. Oh, Instagram has changed its algorithm. But truly, I mean, personally, I'm not sure what it actually means and what it entails in terms of a young creator being like, all right, so what do I do with this information? So let's go per platform just to understand the strengths and weaknesses of each of them and how it impacts someone that's trying to post and just have content on said platform.
If you want, I can just give a little bit of so for people who don't know what an algorithm is, it's basically a set of like programming instructions that decides what is basically sent to users. So it's analyzing who's watching and also what he's watching and what's available, and then deciding how to connect the content with the user. So, and
yeah, it's a finite set of operations with a very straightforward goal. There's no ambiguity in algorithms. So people tend to think of algorithms as like this really weird stuff hanging over their heads that people have no control over. But trust me, Facebook knows what it's doing when it's sending a new algorithm. It wants to know when you're the most available to buy stuff it would recommend to you. So we know that Paul, for example, is really into buying shoes nowadays, and he's like the best period he's going to buy shoes is Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. So Wednesday night, when he gets on Instagram, there's an ad for 3 pair of shoes, 50% off. We know he's going to buy them because we have learned about his behavior online. What we're doing with platforms is we're selling human behavior, and the platforms and the algorithms, they're doing that with your psychological vulnerabilities. So you have to be very careful about them. You have to work on yourself as to not go too often or trop passer de temps sur les plateformes, because the more you're on there, the more we learn about you and the more we have you in our grips. So that's what algorithms do. They learn about you and then they give you more of what you like and more of what makes you comfortable, so that you're in a state of, I'm going to buy stuff or I'm going to do this action that's wanted of me in order to get someone more money.
And it can be just to keep you on the platform, because they're serving you ads. So like, as long as you stay on the platform, they're happy.
Exactly. Kristian, can you, I was wondering, suppose I'm an influencer. Can I use algorithms to my advantage? How do I do that?
Absolutely. And it's different on every platform, so I can do a quick rundown of all of them. But basically, I'll start with TikTok because that's the one I've been talking about a lot recently. And that's probably the one that I'm working with the most right now. To me, it's the future of social media, whether people like it or not. The platform growth is just insane, and the money that is behind it is incredible. But TikTok,
I have a question about that. Just a quick question. Is TikTok boosting numbers? Because we're seeing people getting millions and millions of views on things that would have like hundreds of thousands on Instagram. Are they boosting numbers so people migrate from Instagram or Facebook to TikTok because they feel that they have more pull or more impact on their audience?
Honestly, no. It's just a different platform in the sense of, and I'll compare and contrast. So the difference for that is, let's just say, for instance, if I posted a video on my personal Instagram page, I have about 2,000 followers or something, I'll get 100 likes and that's about it, because the only people that are going to be seeing my content are the people that are already following me. And if I'm very lucky, I end up on the Discover page. The Discover page on Instagram is very cluttered, and people don't actually use the Discover page very often at all. People use their own feed. They want to see the content that is coming from the accounts that they're already following. So your main form of engagement on Instagram and Facebook, and same with a couple of the other platforms like Pinterest, they always come from people who already follow you. Whereas TikTok, over 90% of all of the content comes from the For You page, which is basically the discovery page of TikTok. And so hundreds of thousands of people can see your video even if they don't follow you on TikTok. And so I had a video that was seen by 2.1 million people. I would never get 2.1 million views anywhere else, but because the TikTok algorithm, it got popular, and it rewards you. The more popular you are, it rewards you more. The more shares you have, it rewards you. The more comments, it rewards you. The more followers, the same thing. And so if, going back to your question in terms of how people can utilize these algorithms, it's about knowing the platform and knowing what kind of content you're creating and how that's going to react. If I'm creating a TikTok video, it's going to be on TikTok. It's probably not going to do well anywhere else. If I'm creating Instagram content, I literally can't take an Instagram photo and just put it onto TikTok, because they're completely different mediums. And so if I'm a creator, I'm looking and I'm asking myself, what kind of content do I want to create? What is my content strategy? So if I'm a comedian and I want videos and I want to do short videos, TikTok's is the ideal platform because millions of people have the opportunity to see me. Millions of people don't have to be following me to engage with my content, and it's constantly being put out there. If I'm already a famous celebrity, then Instagram's probably a great platform because millions of people are going to come to me. I don't have to utilize that. And then I'm going to be able to post that to my already large fan base. And that's where people are going to see my content, and it's targeted. And so I would say, in terms of if I'm a creator and I come up with a content strategy, what kind of content? What's the medium? Are you creating a photo content? If you're a photographer, TikTok's not the best place for you. Instagram is definitely a better place for you. If you're, if you're an activist, TikTok's a great place for people to hear your voice and feel your energy. And so for me, it's really about knowing your platform, knowing where your content fits in, and understanding that content is not one size fits all with all of the different algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
What about Facebook? Because I know we joke a lot about Facebook being for, you know, your aunts and your uncles and posting pictures of their holidays. But I mean, is there still any value to being on Facebook? Is this still something that a young creator, again, comedy, let's center the conversation around young creators?
So, I'll answer this one because we distribute the Just for Laughs gags, which is like basically shooting fish in a barrel because it's like, so people just come to it. But we discovered that Facebook now enables anyone like YouTube to monetize their content. So if you're not part of like an agency, or if you don't have like contacts, it's still like an easier platform to monetize for a common person. But if people are interested, the basic metrics that Facebook looks at is whether people watch your video and how long they stay. So they look at the 3-second mark, how many people like basically stayed at least 3 seconds, they didn't just flip through your video. Then they look at how many people stayed from your 3 seconds to 15 seconds, 15 seconds to a minute, minute to a 3 minute, and then they look at the percentage, overall percentage. So we, with the gags, what's easy is that we put gags one after the other, and we can really decide on what's the length. So we played with this, and we found a sweet spot at around 4 minutes where content just like was like basically overnight, we increased the number of videos and we lowered the time, and our views doubled. So maybe that's a pointer if people want to like try their luck on Facebook.
I think that's everywhere now.
Yeah. Well,
so it would be better to post more diversity in your videos, but shorter ones instead of doing long ones with a lot of content in them.
I mean, YouTube prefers, except now they have YouTube shorts, which is like shorts, but otherwise they recognize longer videos. They liked, people who had like 15-minute plus videos where
we're discussing
engaged,
YouTube right now, right?
That's YouTube, but YouTube is also trying to shorten their time. So I don't know.
Because I think the reality is an algorithm. The algorithm it doesn't change. It's built. It's a set piece of principles of rules, and it basically works with the behavior of the people using the apps. The reality is that human beings have incredibly short attention spans, and they're becoming shorter every single day. 2-3 years ago, people were watching 2-3 minute videos. Think about it in the sense of in the year 2010 when we had 3G, and it took 30 seconds for you to be able to open your a search engine and load Google and load what you wanted to do. You were fine with that. Yeah. But now I would guarantee that if your Google didn't open in 0.2 seconds, as soon as you opened your phone, you're going to be looking at going, oh my God, what's going on? What's with the signal? And in reality, it hasn't even been 10 seconds of your life yet. And technology has advanced so quickly that we want everything fast and we want it now. And that's what the algorithms are favoring now is TikTok, you can have up to a 3-minute video, but the viral ones are 15 to 30 seconds. Instagram, same thing. You can have IGTV for as long as you want, but Reels is where the direction that are trying to move, under a minute. Same with quick video content, under 20 seconds. Same with Facebook content, under 30 seconds. And because people are so bored that they know that they can get the next thing immediately. And if they sit there and you are boring for 0.1 seconds, it doesn't matter, because they just have to move their thumb 2 centimeters and they get something new. And I think that it's really shaped the psychology of social media and how people use it psychologically. Everything now is about fast, fast, fast. And you have to take that in consideration when you make a video. When I make a TikTok, I have to make an explosive intro, unless, or people are just going to, scroll right by. If I don't make something, move something big, something high energy, I'm gone. And then I have 10 seconds basically.
Alex, as a comedian, do you respond to this? Because do you start with the punchline and then you get back to kind of explaining the premise? How does it work for a comedian? I mean, if it has to be funny straight up.
And then you fell down the stairs.
Yeah, I was a comedian. That's not something I do nowadays, but I remember that was 2008, Kristian's right, internet was slow. And so people had time. Now I wondered, because what you said, Kristian, is interesting. People are so bored. I wonder if we're not boring them, because if the more you give something to someone, the more that person is going to want that thing again and again and again. So if you condition this person into wanting even more, and if you tell that person you have infinite number of what you want at any given time, is this not is this something good in the long term? Do you see this as, because the image I have is that by 2100, the year 2100, people are gonna make buildings explode in their intro of their videos, because there will be nothing left to do that will catch your attention and be super special. So I wonder if it's a good thing or not.
I don't think it's a good thing, to be honest. I think we're already starting to see what some psychologists are calling content overload. Basically saying that people are so overloaded. They have their favorite YouTubers, they have their favorite Twitch streamers, they have their favorite TikTokers. They are so much content. It's in the same way it happened actually a few years ago in television first, in the sense of who can keep up with all of the TV series that are out there in the world now. If someone walks up to you and they're like, hey, did you see that new Hulu Plus show? And it's like, no, I don't have that platform. I have 25 other platforms. And next week, there's going to be 3 more streaming platforms, all with their own shows. So the reality is there's too much content out there to be able to do things. It's the same ideology. And I read an interesting paper about it the other day. It's the same ideology of when you go into Netflix and it takes you an hour to find something to watch because there's too much variety.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so hard to pick something because you're like, if I keep going, I might find something better. Whereas, previously it wasn't about that. It was like, I have a movie I want to watch. Yeah, that's good enough. Nothing's ever good enough anymore. And you have to take that into consideration as a creator now, that there's so much content out there that you're not going to win them all. And that's the reality of it. You're not going to get everyone to stay. Your numbers are not always going to be perfect. I gained 30,000 followers in the first month and 2,000 the next month. It's a giant roller coaster of an algorithm, but it's really going to be a matter of, like you said, between now and then, just sticking to that consistency, because the reality is that people came to you for a reason at one point, and there are always going to be those people that stay, because whether or not they like you, whether or not they like your content, whether or not you hit a trend perfectly, keep the consistency would be the number one thing that I say. And that's what I say to all of our influencers in our agency, is even if they have bad months and their engagement rate drops 2%, it's like, just keep doing what you're doing, because there was a reason your engagement rate was where it was, and it will come back, and it does come back, but it just comes in waves. It's kind of like the stock market in a way.
What I find...
Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
Well, I just want to say, what's really important is to hook your audience early, because they a lot, you lose in the first 15 seconds, you lose half of the people usually. But once they're hooked, I think it's really dependent on your content. If your content is good, it can be longer and people are going to watch it. If you're it also, the hardest part is to be entertaining and funny. If you're doing a how to change a muffler and it takes 15 minutes, people are going to watch the whole 15 minutes because they want to change a muffler. So, but if you want to
it might not go viral though.
Never know.
You
never know.
You
never know.
There's, you said it earlier, if you want to see how the algorithms work, look at YouTube. There's all sorts of videos about it. People search, YouTube has become a utility, right? you want to change something in your house, you're going to check out, and the video will have like 150,000 views.
Absolutely.
Because there's always someone who wants to change a screen door or like, change a light bulb or whatever.
But I think you're right about that, but that's the intent, right? Like, and I think that's important too, to think about platform intent. Yeah. If you go to YouTube, you're typically going there with the idea that you're going to spend some time. As in, if I'm going to YouTube, I'm not there for a 15-second video. I'm there to probably watch a 10-minute video from a creator that I enjoy, or I'm there to learn how to do something. I'm physically consenting to the idea that I'm going to be sitting down, whether it's on my TV or my anything, and spending time. Instagram is a little bit more like that, a little bit more time intensive, because people are talking and they're seeing the content that they follow. They want to see things from people that they follow. TikTok is, I have no idea what I am about to see. I could open my TikTok right now and my first video could be a cat and my next video could literally be like quantum physics. You have no idea. And people go for that, right? And so I think you're completely right. It's like, what is the intent of your audience and how do you utilize making your content for the intent of the people that you want to see it?
We're almost at the end. So I think I'll go around our three panelists and ask you guys whatever pearl of wisdom you guys want to end on, something you feel that really should be like the tagline of what you want the takeaway to be for each of you. And then we'll have... we'll say thank you to our viewers for tonight. So let's start with Paul, maybe a pearl of wisdom before we go.
Oh, this is a tall order. I don't know. I guess like if we're purely talking about like algorithms and like what can kind of help you have your content discovered, just try to put yourself in the shoes of like Facebook and YouTube and imagine like, what do they want? Like, can I give them that? And like, in the broader sense. So they want people to watch, they want people to be like entertained, they want people to stay on the platform. So if you produce content that's useful or that's like entertaining, that people enjoy, that's the very base of everything. Once you have that, everything's going to come much easier.
Kristian?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just summarize kind of what we were talking about. Just be yourself. You are your own brand. And for the first time in human history, you are a brand, no matter what. If you put out content, you are your own brand. You're in charge of it. You are the creative director of you. And so don't think that you have to be a particular person, or don't think that you have to act like an influencer to be an influencer. There are people that just want to see you, no matter who you are. If you think your content if you think something is stupid, it doesn't matter. Make it anyway. Because the more content, the more consistent stuff you get out into the world, and the higher the quality, the better. If you're going to get all these things out there every single time you put something out, that's practice. And so I would just say create to the highest standard that you can possibly make, and try and figure out what your content strategy is, what direction you're trying to do, what is your ultimate goal, and find the platform that works for you. It shouldn't feel like work. It should feel like you are the one that's creating. You're not fighting against an algorithm. The algorithm's helping you. Every platform's different. Trial and error. Find your thing, and ultimately just keep going, because it takes consistency and it takes a long time. Ask anyone who's built a major following. It doesn't happen in 3 days. Some of these people who have millions and millions of followers, they've been doing it for 10 years now. So just keep going and basically just keep learning. That's what I would say. I try to learn about social media every single day. The more I learn, the better my content becomes.
Awesome. Alexandre?
One of the best thing I've heard in my entire life was, the universe is infinite and you're not special. So the more special you think you are, the more it hurts when you fail at something. And so when you put out a video or a piece of content and it doesn't work the way you intended it to work, the more you think you're special, the more it will hurt. So you have to think of yourself as part of a bigger thing where people are entertained and you're part of this. So, I mean, whatever you do, some people are going to like it and some other people aren't going to like it. So just have fun. As Kristian said, be yourself. You should bring on the platforms what you are in real life. Because I've seen people do the same exact thing for a lot of years in a row and it didn't work. And one day they just decided, fuck it, I'm gonna do this thing I wanted to do for like 5 years. And it worked like a charm because they were happy to do it. And this was what resembled them the most. So just go with the flow. Don't think of yourself as being so special, and have fun. You're gonna die anyway someday, so might as well make the best out of it.
There has never been truer words than this. We will all die one day. I'd like to thank all of you. Merci à tous d'avoir été avec nous ce soir. La conversation reste disponible sur nos plateformes médias Zoofest pendant plusieurs mois. Donc, utilisez-la à bon escient. On espère que vous avez réussi à avoir des trucs et des astuces, mais aussi que ça ait fait avancer la conversation par rapport à un sujet qui est très d'actualité. Encore une fois, Paul, Alexandre, Kristian, thank you so much for your time.